People were no longer doing business just for the profit of it. People would want to do business for the lifestyle that the business afforded them.
Why Hustle Africa, the name?
Hustling or the hustle. Because if you become successful at it, it's no longer hustle. It's how they know us. They know us as never say die. That's who we are. That's the spirit of Africa that's being celebrated globally.
How much do you think was still lacking in Africa?
Because of the way we hustle, we focus on, my hard work, my talents, that my work will speak for me, for example. There has to be a lot of strategy so as you are building, as you are doing all the hard work and all of that, you have to figure out a strategy for getting people to know what you're building.
Hi, you're welcome to another episode of Femme Biz. My name is Joy. This is a space where we host honest and intelligent conversations with women who are leading impact in businesses, industries, and policies across Africa and beyond. Today's conversation is going to be one that, you probably did not expect, but there's so much insight into what storytelling does for businesses and people, and for Africa as a whole. Today I have Aisha Omadibi with me. Aisha is a creative writer, strategist, entrepreneur. She is the founder of Hustle Africa, and it is a pan-African storytelling and content marketing agency helping entrepreneurs and MSMEs grow through clear, human-centered storytelling. Ty, I am excited to allow my guest give us the tea on everything, what's really why storytelling is important in this day and age and for every business out there. Hi, Aisha.
Hi.
Okay, I'm so happy to have you because you've already given me so much energy and I'm so happy to I feel like it's showing on me already.
Thank you.
I'm just going to let you do, I did a bit of a formal intro, so maybe you can just tell us what we need to know about you.
This thing that's set up is just always really difficult to say these things. Because you've already said it. Entrepreneur, storyteller, I live, breathe, eat this story. I'm also a mom and a wife, so a woman with many parts. Let's leave it at that.
Okay. Amazing. So you were already telling me how and why Hustle Africa. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to let you tell my audience why Hustle Africa.
Yeah.
And about it. Or how did you even start? Let's the journey to Hustle Africa.
Yeah, so I'd always been a writer. I would help people publish their books. I would write their books. It's what I've always done. Write for magazines, write for people, worked in magazines myself. And then I just knew that, I wanted to work with words. But I the thing for me is our story is interesting because we're customer-led, if that makes any sense. So at the point where I was going to launch this digital magazine, I'd been doing it. I was doing the magazine, and then I took a break because it was called Mosaic Nigeria at the time. This was 2015, 2016, 2017, but I wasn't making money from it. So we had lovely photography, beautiful interviews, some adverts, but we're not, the cha-ching was not happening. And so I took a break to find out why everybody loved this thing, but it wasn't translating to money for us. And it was in that break that I worked with a foreign company, and I learned what I felt I didn't know. It just opened my eyes to a different way to do what I was doing. And so I gave myself 3 years on that job and said, these 3 years is to pull money together so that I can come back and do what I wanted to do. But now because I was working with a media outfit that was situated in Singapore, but had a Pan-Asian outlook, Pan-Asian influence. And so I thought, why just Nigeria when the whole Africa is there for the taking? So I now started to research what was going on, how people were doing business. It had started changing, because somewhere in 2018, even before, people were no longer doing business just for the profit of it. People would want to do business for the lifestyle of it, for the lifestyle that the business afforded them. So you see somebody that will ditch their banking job to drive Uber. That was my experience. I would interview these people. You see women that were keke drivers, for example. They could have been in the market selling open shop, but they'll go and buy keke and be driving the keke, a woman in the keke. It was just, so I just liked that. I loved, again, I'm attracted to the story. So in those kind of things, you find out that the reason for that is the why. Started sitting down with these people, talking about it, and then started my business again, but this time just telling these African stories. Find somebody doing something unconventional in maybe Kenya, and then reach out to them and say, can I tell your story? Can I write your story? And that's how it started. And then people started saying, listen, that person you wrote about, I'd like to learn what they do. Can you connect me with them? That's where the connecting people across the continent. That's how it started. So one day I just thought, okay, I now know this thing is working for me. Why don't I teach people this thing? In fact, that was supposed to be the launch. It would be a webinar, official launch. And then we did this webinar and I got people saying, come and do this for my business. Come and do this for my business. Come and put my business, use my website to write about my business. So we started handling people's blogs for their businesses. And then it translated to not just our blog, do this one too, do this one too. So it was the people, really, the entrepreneurs who gave birth to Hustle Africa. It was just supposed to be us telling these stories because I consider myself the biggest cheerleader of anybody building in this country and on this continent. It's the hardest place to build, right? But we're doing it. So every time I find somebody doing something interesting or remarkable, I like to talk about it, and then people start saying, come do, your talking is working, your writing is working, so come do this for my business. And that's how we just started to grow that way. And for every growth that we've achieved at Hustle Africa, honestly, it was customer born. It was the demand of the customer to say, this is what I want next. Do it for me. And for one person making that request, there's 100 more. So that's just how we grew.
Amazing. So storytelling is at the core of what you do at Hustle Africa. But I want to also ask, before I ask, the hustle part, I think I want you to help me. You already told me, you already shared it with me. So why Hustle Africa, the name?
So we say that we want to redefine how people see hustling or the hustle. Because if you become successful at it, it's no longer hustle. What we're saying is, this thing is how they know us. They know us as never say die. That's who we are. That's the spirit of Africa that's being celebrated globally. It's the never say die, relentless, resilient thing in our genes. And we have this, right? But instead of focusing on that to say, nobody is thinking about, okay, what's the end result? We're saying, yeah, we have this thing, but we don't hustle just for hustling's sake. We're hustling from a position of success in a unique way, in an authentic way, by telling your story. Because that's something that is like your DNA. Nobody else has it. It's unique to you, and it's what makes you the most attractive.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So, on the subject of storytelling and, visibility, where like how much do you think we're still lacking in Africa, like business? Do you think there's still like a huge gap to fill in terms
There
of?
is. For example, let's take technology. How much technology are we building? How much, even with AI, we already know what AI can do, or what AI will do in the world. How much of it is African? How much of Africa does AI know? Right? So, and if we can't be visible, so the visibility is so let me start with saying that there's a huge gap, right? And I think because of the way we hustle, we focus on, my hard work, my talent, my skill, my resilience is enough, that my work will speak for me, for example, and it will get. There has to be a lot of strategy so as you are building, as you are doing all the hard work and all of that, you have to figure out a strategy for getting people to know what you're building. And if you ask me, it's from telling your stories from day zero. So there's that huge gap. We do this conference every year. We're going to do one last year, and we just cancelled it at the last minute. But the conversation was AI and the disruption that it's brought to content and marketing. And you see, in all of this disruption, how much Claude, for example, is European. OpenAI is American. There's no African one. So because there's no African one, there's a limit to how AI can work for us or can tell our stories, because it doesn't understand cultural nuance. Who is teaching it? The people, and that's there. So, and there's a lot that we must do if we have to become globally competitive. When we say these things, it's not all gloom and doom. I feel like we've also come a long way. Our music is no longer possible to ignore Afrobeats. Our content is no longer possible to ignore our content. So our stories are doing what they're doing. Nollywood can't be ignored anymore. Netflix wants our stories. They are here. The other one too, Prime was here. So there's all of that is happening. We're saying, let's be maybe more aggressive, more strategic, and be seen.
So let's talk now about storytelling as a strategy. So what you've worked with businesses. What would you even think that what's the peculiar thing that they've struggled with, that you've seen across many businesses that they've struggled with in terms of this visibility, but then how storytelling then now bridges that gap? So what do you?
So let me tell you, one time we had this client, foreign African, but based abroad, and they came and they said, we do all these fantastic things. In fact, just go and check our website. Our website will tell you all these things that we do. And then I went to their website, beautiful website, and it said everything that they were doing, but it came at it from a me angle, a them angle. It didn't tell me what was in it for me. It didn't tell me their story. So they just went on and on about, these are all our expressions. So we express as our brand in this area and this area and this area. How does that tell me why I should fall in love with your brand? It doesn't. So my first thing was to say, beautiful website, but everything on the website needs to go. It leads me to the answer to your question, is that we are so attached to what we're building that we don't come at telling our stories through the lens of the customer.
People that will use it.
Do you understand? So sometimes we sound braggy when we're talking about, I built this thing, it can do this, it can do that, these are the features, these are the benefits.
How about me? How about the consumer?
What does this do for me? Do you see?
So, yeah.
First, storytelling 101, because you're not telling, if I were gisting you now, I have to take into cognizance how you like to be gisted. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you in a way that you'll find my gist receptive. I shouldn't come at you with just trying to cram the info that I want to give you down your throat and expect you to swallow it. So we've not learned to tell authentic stories that are customer-centric. I think that's the number one thing that...
Okay, so now how, like, where should a business look at when they even want to start telling their brand story? You've already said the mind of the customer, but I mean, oftentimes I feel like businesses that just get into the market or they just even start, what will even be their strategy to even tell a brand the story around what they want to do, especially if they don't even have customers yet. But then for those who already have customers, how can it be strengthened, from, like, because now I feel like I think storytelling is important, especially because of the digital age, because that's, especially if you want to get someone to really stop scrolling, you're going to have to use a very strong and compelling story. But then those businesses that haven't quite gotten into the left, like maybe a bit of the traditional modus operandi, how do they now come about telling a brand story?
What is a brand story? Is it not your origin story? That's what it is. So why does this brand exist? What did you see that made you say, this problem, I will solve it? You saw something now. So the reason why you need to talk about it from that angle is the person with that problem will immediately, their ears will perk up and say, this person knows my problem. So even if you don't have any customer, you are just launching, you identified a problem, tell us what made you see that problem. And if you don't solve that problem, tell us what the world looks like without that problem being solved. So you are not telling us who you are yet. What is going to stick in our heads is, this person saw a problem. And then they looked at this thing and said, this is not just a problem, it's an opportunity for me to solve a problem. And if I don't solve it, this is what the world will look like. If there's no cybersecurity experts, for example, your information is not safe online. Immediately, my heart to just do bam, all my passwords. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then you then tell us what makes you now qualified. So you've told us you saw a problem. You've told us what the solution to the problem is. You've told us what the world looks like without that problem being solved. Why you? You tell us why the thing is doing you in your chest. Do you see?
Yeah.
So when you tell us why it's doing you in your chest, we immediately connect you to the problem as the solver, right? And then in telling us why it's you, why you are qualified to solve the problem, you tell us how many times you've solved that problem. How many people have you solved that for? Unfortunately, maybe you don't have any clients. Then you say, so this is what our goal now is, to solve this problem for XYZ amount of people. You've let us know that you're a mission-oriented storytelling brand owner. Does that answer you?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Another thing I think when it comes to storytelling could be that, now let's even talk about now the age of AI. Where do we draw the line? Like, how do you humanize your brand, especially knowing the fact that, okay, we have technology to help us do that. And also the relevance now, knowing that, for example, your brand now does the storytelling, and then people are like, okay, the value of this, I can get it from AI. At the core of it, like, how do you really say, okay, it's not, I will be better than AI.
Better than AI. So the way that I see it, AI has come. Whatever it can do now is the least of what it can do. In the next 6 months, it'll be better. In the next 6 months after that, it'll be better. So you've asked a valid question, but there's something that AI is not. AI is not a human being. So AI does not understand human nuance, human communication nuance. It can't do that. It'll give you the information you want. Write script for me now that I want to use to run maybe an ad, or we want to turn it into a campaign or something. It will write you a script. But how deeply will that script be felt? That's where the issue is. So you now have to train AI with the emotions that you say that you are targeting. Because again, in the story that you are telling, you want the person to feel a certain type of way so that they can take a certain action that favors you.
Your brand, yeah.
Right? So you have to start prompting from that, with that emotion in mind, with the whatever, if you are in Africa, with cultural nuance in mind. Because AI does not know that. And I think for now, that gap will always be there. But you asked the question that I must touch on, is that how do we stay relevant? We've built a tool right now. It's called Storyscope AI. If you go to storyscopeai.com, you can tell stories with human nuance, because we've built the AI to recognize, number one, narrative patterns. So you know how you tell stories now. First of all, in the beginning, So all the storytelling frameworks, the AI knows. All you have to do is go there, choose first of all, tell it what brand voice you are using. So as Joy, input Joy's brand voice. Is she fun, flighty, witty, whatever? Tell it so it knows. You register that there, and then you start to create. If you want to do an email or a script or whatever it is, the AI will write for you as Joy. I didn't say that, when you're imputing your brand voice, there's a space for you to say how you write. So if you're writing like you talk, put in certain words that you use that are unique to you, so that when your people read it, they'll know that this is Joy. They won't say this is AI, which is a big problem that people have creating with AI, because it's bland and it sounds like everybody else. It's not unique to you. So we've, like I told you, our work is customer driven. So we've anticipated what will happen. Everybody's going to use AI, but everybody is not going to love the output that they are getting from AI. And that's why we built this tool to say, go and use it to create human. If it's pigeon, put it there, whatever, So this is AI that sounds like you. That's even our tagline. AI that sounds exactly like you. So there's Storyscope AI there, and hopefully it'll become mainstream.
Amazing. Well done with the work that you do. Okay, so with all of I see that you're also, the training that you do, is from, every company wants to train their professionals for as long as growth is concerned. Growth is important. So, but maybe I would like for you to say what sustainable growth looks like, for the for any business, right? And in terms of, from the angle of this marketing, storytelling, and all of that, and what it looks like, and how sustainable, how to sustain it, in the long term, especially now, at a critical period for, I could say, Nigeria, and also for Africa, with all of the advancements that are coming.
Sustainable growth is strategy and data led, because whatever you cannot measure, you cannot manage. So for sustainable growth, have systems and processes in place in the business. Have measuring metrics to measure, okay, what does success look like to us in this business in the next 6 months, and the 6 months after that, and the 6 months after that, and then you're tracking. That is sustainable growth. The businesses that die don't measure anything, don't have any indices for measurement. But me, because I'm a storyteller, I will tell you that also tell your stories from day zero. From day zero. Oh, we're starting a business today. Oh. Like me now, I made cocoa butter cream this morning.
Ooh.
I put it out there. I'm like, cocoa butter cream, I made it this morning. New business alerts.
Interesting.
Clock it. Because why not? I don't, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that it's a new business alert, but why not? Right? Because it was beautiful. Okay? That can be a new business. And I'm telling you the story from today when it doesn't have packaging, it doesn't have a name, nothing. Know it. So you begin to, the thing is here. So people begin to associate you with these things. All of these diverse areas that you're involved in. They know if you're building with story, it's sustainable. Let me tell you why. Because the day that I stopped doing Hustle Africa, if I've been building in public, and I stopped doing Hustle Africa, and I focus on soap making and this, my cocoa butter cream, who's going to buy it from me? It's all of you now that knew me, knew you've been following my story, you know. Do you understand? Imagine that I was coding it, and I didn't say. Is when I now stop doing Hustle Africa and I say, I'm about to start. It's going to take me time. But storytelling helps you build top of mind awareness, build trust from the very get-go. And that trust, until you betray it, you don't lose it. So as the brand continues to evolve, that audience follows you everywhere that you're going. I remember somebody who was a rapper. Yeah, she used to be a rapper. Everybody knew her as a rapper. Then in COVID, she became a digital marketing, something. She was teaching online business. Guess who were her customers? She was selling courses and all these things. 90% of people buying were the people who knew her as a rapper, because she told the story of how she transited, what happened to her. She had a failed engagement and then she moved to Ghana. Somewhere in Ghana, she started doing digital marketing. Till forever, they're her customers.
And you're saying that now that is the backbone of growth?
It is. Building in public. You can no longer, because now, if you don't build in public, people have a hard time. Even investors have a hard time trusting you, because it's like, where did you come from again? What's your story?
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, so from your work with founders and like executives, top companies and all, what would you say is the big difference between those who scale and those who do? I mean, it still boils down back to storytelling, if you would say, but you know, if there are like other things that you see that separates those that scale and those who stay in the same place, if you've seen over time your work.
Processes and systems, people, and managing the money, knowing the books. That's it. Number one, you have to have processes and systems. You can't scale a business without process, because how are you going to open branch 2 and 3 and 4 when in branch 1 we don't even know what we're doing? People have to know what they're doing, such that, and it needs to be documented such that any simpleton can come and just take this laid down process and implement. Once that is doable in one branch, you can have 100 branches, and that's what scaling means. Then that's processes and systems. People management. What kind of leadership do you have? You have to be able to manage the people. And when I say this, one of the things that, you know, African entrepreneurs rarely do is give the people who work in the business a sense of ownership. Because, are you joking? I built this thing with my blood and sweat and tears. How can I not give you ownership? So, but letting people just feel like
they're part of
I'm part of this helps them even take ownership in the work.
That's amazing. Okay, at the beginning of the episode, before we actually started recording, you said being a woman in 2026 means being audacious or having audacity. So I want you to tell us, I mean, this is still a feminine show. So like being a woman, like how has, like maybe just you should like tell us what audacity means, like how it looks like today, in every aspect, relationship, life, career, motherhood, all of those things.
It is 2 questions. Why and why not? So for every why somebody asks you, ask them why not.
Interesting.
Why not? Why not me? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why? So for every why, I had to come to that. So my nickname now is Audacious Aisha because I'm very shy. I've always been. But then I went to one accelerator, and then they told us to write down our names, and then just before your name, write down like an add a qualifying, what was that thing? Noun. What qualifies the noun? So people were writing courageous something. Billionaire something, but it has to rhyme with your name, and my name starts with A.
Okay.
So I said, Audacious Aisha. Because they said you might think of yourself 5 years from now and write who you want to be by then. I thought, to get to this thing I'm writing, I have to be really audacious. And between that time and now, what has pushed me is when I come up with an idea, because I'm a creative person, I have these ideas. And then something says, why? And I say, why not? That's how Storyscope came. When I was saying to my team that let's not wait to see what AI will become. Let's anticipate it and build, right? Everybody was like, why? Let's do it. Why not? And even the guy who built it says to me, this is your brain.
Interesting.
Why not? So as a woman, life is going to come at you with many whys. Why? Why you? Why not? If you can answer the why not, if you can respond with a why not, you'll find yourself unstoppable. And for me, that's what audacity is.
Yes.
That is so beautiful. Okay, so I mean, now I think one of the things that a lot of people emphasize, especially with the era of social media, is you have to say, like, I'm now moving from businesses to just personal. Like, people, you have to just talk, say, put something out. Let's see what you're doing. You never know, stuff like that. And I just want you to maybe like wrapping up to say how much, like, to your emphasis on like how much currency visibility is right now.
I mean, at some point I said it, your hard work alone is not going to get you to where you want to be. It's not. You can't rely on your hard work alone. You have to have a strategy for people seeing your hard. Don't let the work, assist the work to fly, right? I met these 2 veterans in PR one time. They came to our office. They came to use the office to film. And then they were just speaking, and I was sitting somewhere in the room. And they were talking about how their careers have gone, right? This other one was like, I used to be the brilliant guy. Those guys that are, collecting all the PR, big jobs, they came to me to write their briefs. I said, look at you, sir. So they were coming to you to write their brief. They have 2 heads, Abby, pitching for jobs. You will write the pitch. They will go and pitch. You sit down. He now starts saying he regrets it now. You see, because now those ones are known as the PR agencies that was doing all the big jobs that time. He is still where he is, trying now to be visible. So as you build and you have a strategy for building, which is all these entrepreneurship things, all these business strategy, all of those things, process systems, have a visibility strategy. In fact, we do it for some of our clients. We help them to draft a visibility strategy because we realize that it's not enough to build something amazing. People need to know,
Amazing. Thank you so much, Aisha, for joining us today.
Having me.
Thank you. Personally, storytelling, it's the most important thing for every business. I personally have worked with some, I think in the past I've worked with, as a freelancer, I've worked with some, should I say, fintech finance startups. And I think one of the hardest things used to be actually coming up with a story. Like it used to be something, and it got so bad that you have to actually put now we had to start looking to hire like someone who is a storyteller. Like it's now a role that outlined, because you can't just be a content marketer anymore. But you have to know how to tell really good stories that capture the attention of everyone. Right. Okay. Some icebreakers. Okay. Okay. So, like, what's your favorite hobby? Like, what do you like to do? You okay? I was expecting you to say that.
It's books.
Okay. Fiction or non-fiction do you read?
Non-fiction these days.
Okay.
For fiction, I just watch a movie.
Really? Okay, I think I'm on the other side. I switched from non-fiction to fiction now because I'm like, I know all of this. I want to. But like, what book are you currently reading?
I'm reading. Okay, so I have like 3 books open.
Okay.
I'm reading Steve Jobs' biography. I'm reading The Psychology of Money.
Ooh.
And I'm reading Mindset, Carol Dweck.
Okay, never heard of that one, but okay. So, of all, if someone wants to just, I want to be like, for a woman who just wants to, I want to just start something, be audacious, leap out of my comfort zone. Would you recommend any book for her?
Mindset and Good to Great.
Good to Great is by
Jim Collins. Good to Great is so the title is Good to Great: Why Some Companies Make the Leap and Others Don't. So immediately. And why am I recommending that book? Jim Collins lets us know that it's not all these things that we think is what makes a successful entrepreneur. It is resilience. It is discipline. I didn't think that that's what I will find in the book. That the reason why some companies make the cut and some others don't is discipline, disciplined thoughts, disciplined action, disciplined personality. Those 3. So you want to start something, read that one, read Mindset. What Carol is saying in Mindset is there's 2 mindsets. So you have a fixed mindset and you have a growth mindset. The fixed mindset is not good for anything because you can't grow anything. So there's always excuses why you're not doing something or why something is not happening. But with a growth mindset, that's where resilience is born. No matter what, I have to.
All right. Thank you so much, Aisha, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe this is also an open invitation for you to come back another time.
I would love to.
Okay. Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode. And I do hope that you got enough gems. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please do follow us on all our social media platforms. That is B360 TV on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And again, I am Joy Abia, and this is Femme Biz.